France is burning, Germany is shrinking, and the United Kingdom, once ruling over a quarter of the planet, now can't even rule over its own grocery prices. Across Europe's most powerful nations, something strange is happening. These aren't just economic dips or political shifts. They're symptoms of something deeper. A slow, quiet surrender. It raises the question: have Europe's great powers already given up? In the 20th century, Europe's great powers led the world. Germany was an industrial powerhouse. France was a global cultural force. The UK sat at the table with the US and USSR, deciding the fate of continents. But look around today. Germany is on the brink of recession for the fourth time in just 5 years. France is facing nationwide protests over pensions, fuel, and immigration. Britain is still grappling with Brexit's aftermath, with inflation higher than any G7 country. Europe's engines are sputtering, and no one seems to be steering. At the root of many of these problems is one undeniable truth: Europe is getting old. Fast. The average age in Germany is 46. In Italy, it's 47. In France, it's climbing steadily. These are among the oldest populations on Earth, and it's only getting worse. Birth rates have collapsed. In Germany, the fertility rate is 1.4. In Italy, just 1.2. To sustain a stable population, you need 2.1. This isn't just about numbers. It's about survival. A country with more retirees than workers can't sustain pensions, public services, or long-term growth. It becomes risk-averse, slow-moving, tired, like a lion too old to hunt. To counter this, many European powers turned to immigration, and for a while, it worked. Germany opened its doors in 2015 to nearly 1 million refugees. The UK attracted workers from Eastern Europe. France saw surges from its former colonies. But that solution has come at a cost, or rather, a perceived cost. Right-wing populism surged. In Germany, the AfD party is now polling above 20%. In France, Marine Le Pen's national rally is more powerful than ever. In Britain, anti-immigrant sentiment helped fuel Brexit. Rather than rejuvenating Europe, immigration sparked cultural clashes, political divisions, and, in some cases, violence. Now, many governments are afraid to fully commit. Caught between the math of demographics and the fury of voters, they choose inaction. Meanwhile, the economic picture isn't pretty. Take Germany. Once the economic engine of Europe, it now faces industrial decline. Its reliance on cheap Russian energy was brutally exposed after the Ukraine war. Factories are shutting down. Investment is slowing. Exports are shrinking. France isn't faring much better. Its national debt now exceeds 110% of GDP. And under Macron, austerity has returned, with mass protests as the price. And the UK? It's struggling to find a post-Brexit identity. London's finance sector is losing ground. The NHS is overwhelmed. Wages are stagnating.
One by one, these once mighty powers are becoming cautious, tired, risk-averse. No bold visions, no transformative reforms, just survival. So what's stopping change? Politics. In Germany, coalition governments now take months to form, and then spend most of their time arguing. France's political centre is hollowing out. Macron rules without a majority, stuck between far-left protests and far-right populism. In Britain, the Conservative Party is now on its 5th Prime Minister in 7 years. Scandals, resignations, and infighting have left the government paralysed. What unites these countries is not policy, but political exhaustion. Leaders aren't leading, they're managing, avoiding risks, dodging outrage, playing defense, and it shows. To understand why this decline feels so dramatic, you have to look at Europe's past. These nations once ruled empires, waged world wars, and redrew the map of the planet. They exported languages, borders, ideologies, sometimes violently, and now they're being outpaced by South Korea, out-innovated by India, outspent by China, and outmuscled by the US. And with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Europe once again relies on America to defend its borders. That contrast between what Europe was and what it is creates a dangerous vacuum, a sense of lost purpose. It's not just decline, it's disorientation. For decades, Europe made up for declining hard power with soft power, culture, diplomacy, human rights. But even that is fading. German media is less trusted than ever. French diplomacy failed to prevent war in Ukraine or tensions in Africa. The UK's global influence shrinks with every trade misstep. Meanwhile, internal crises like housing shortages, crime, and crumbling infrastructure have made domestic policy the only focus. The world keeps moving, but Europe's great powers are looking inward, arguing about migrants, pronouns, and pensions, while global competitors race ahead. But has Europe truly given up? Maybe not, because hidden beneath the stagnation is potential. Europe still holds immense wealth, talent, and innovation. It has some of the best universities, scientists, and green energy companies on the planet. It leads in climate tech, culture, and design. What it lacks isn't resources, it's vision, the kind of collective will that rebuilt it after two world wars. The boldness of the Marshall Plan, the imagination that created the European Union itself. If Europe is to remain a global force, its great powers need more than reforms. They need courage. The next 10 years will determine whether Europe's powers become passive provinces in a US-China-led world, or reinvent themselves as dynamic, agile democracies. It starts with acknowledging the stagnation, then choosing to act. That means investing in youth, welcoming smart immigration, rebuilding institutions, and yes, dreaming big again.
Because for all their problems, Europe's great powers still shape the world's ideals: liberty, democracy, human dignity. But those ideals must be backed by strength, not just history. Otherwise, the world will move on without them. So, have Europe's great powers given up? Not officially, not completely, but in many ways, they've stopped trying to lead and started settling for survival. If that doesn't change soon, the question won't be have they given up. It will be, do they even matter anymore?